Mob Psycho is a series about self-discovery, and in my opinion, MP100 does something somewhat unique for its demographic. It's a shonen anime that feels like it utilizes its middle schooler protagonist to speak directly to shonen's target audience of adolescents. I don't think MP100 is the only shonen to do so, but it feels like it's one of them that gets the execution done flawlessly. Mob Psycho 100 is, by definition, anti-wish fulfillment, being extremely grounded while at the same time juxtaposing that very grounded messaging with whatever insane stuff this is. Shigeo Kageyama, or Mob, is a character who has the absurd power of a main character, but the way he carries himself or presents himself is the exact opposite of what his power level would suggest. He's shy, he's socially awkward, and gets nervous extremely easily. At the same time, he's compassionate and extremely forgiving. Mob as a character is essentially the rejection of the idea that absolute power corrupts absolutely. This is when we introduce Ritsu, Mob's younger brother. Ritsu acts as a foil for everything Mob stands for. He has no power, but has all of the riz his big brother lacks. He's popular, he performs well in school, and conducts himself well in social situations. What truly sets them apart in Ritsu's eyes, however, is his lack of any psychic ability, viewing himself as inferior for not having power, being blind to the things Mob wants, as they end up developing a feedback loop of inferiority complexes with regards to each other. When he does finally get that power, it does what it couldn't do to Mob and begins to corrupt his way of thinking. In reality, the massive psychic abilities of Mob Psycho are a stand-in for innate talent, as Ritsu chases talent in hopes to feel equal to his brother, whom he had developed a complex regarding after truly understanding Mob's psychic capability, while Mob develops a complex regarding Ritsu's success in everyday life. Mob Psycho 100 isn't about becoming stronger and stronger until he can best this season's antagonist. It's a story about a boy with immense talent who wants to be more than that, someone who wants to be defined by his character or his accomplishments rather than what he was born with. This is explicitly acknowledged by the narrative with regards to a multitude of characters. Teruki Hanazawa became self-important, thinking he was the only Esper around, being the logical conclusion of someone who relies solely on their powers. He conducted himself as a main character until Mob comes and humbles him and shows him talent isn't everything. When he comes across Dimple for the first time, he sees yet another person who has been lost to power. Dimple aimed to create a religion with him at the head, until becoming somebody, yet again, humbled by Mob, showing that being strong won't help you achieve popularity. Ritsu is one of few characters who has seen what Mob is truly capable of. Due to his weak mental health, when his back is against the wall, he would regularly fall back to the gift he was born with. This was a prime contributor towards his inferiority complex developing. It wasn't just a source of jealousy, but it was also fear. This is when Mob Psycho 100 teaches us yet another lesson, the danger of expectation. Teruki projects his own expectations on the Mob during their battle, as if you have power then you should use it. To project it is to accept weakness, and that weakness would hurt his ego. Dimple projects his own expectations much the same, regretting how Mob let such immense power go to waste and not using it to make himself popular. Ritsu's fear is grounded in reality after seeing what Mob did with his full power, but additionally, it also serves as a projection or fear of what he himself would do with absolute power. But Mob refuses to see it like that. To him, this power is just like any other tool, like a knife. Sure, the knife can be utilized for harm, but you can also use it to make delicacies. This is a fundamental difference in perspective between not just Mob and Ritsu, but a lot of characters. Among the cast here, Mob is an anomaly to them. He is someone who has the means to accomplish anything he would want, to be born so talented, to have the most power or be as popular as he wants, but he refuses to take the easy way, and instead wants to earn those merits. The Body Improvement Club is an example of expectation, but it comes from us, the viewers. When we're first introduced to the idea of Mob joining a bunch of jocks, our preconceived notion on jock-like characters in fiction makes us expect that he will be turned away at the door for being small in stature. But Mob Psycho 100 rejects that jock caricature, and instead gives us a bunch of cool dudes who prioritize self-improvement. Mob's nickname can be interpreted quite literally, as a majority of the characters of MP100 regularly test his resolve and make him attempt to submit to a concept known as mob rule, often conflated with chaos or confusion. Every character attempts to morph Mob's being into their own expectations, as the young boy still isn't confident enough or emotionally mature enough to properly deal with and vent those feelings of pressure until it causes him to explode. Mob regularly rejects that expectation after his frustrations and feelings come to a boil, bucking whatever idea the antagonist of the arc is imposing on him, but at the same time, with his sheer perseverance in the face of inevitable demise, Mob picks up lessons from every antagonist thus far, and by extension, so too does the viewer. Mob learns from Teruki what he could be like if he succumbed to his power, and also learns that it's okay to stand up for yourself, something he utilizes against Mogami, because MP100 doesn't explicitly tell Mob to reject his talent, but just not to rely on it. He learned from battling with Claw that it's okay to stand up for what you believe in, and this is when Season 3's God Dimple comes into play. As mentioned earlier, Shigeo was prone to bottling up into explosive force, but Season 3 is different. To Mob, Dimple has betrayed his trust. He has done the very thing Mob had rejected multiple times and used his power for nefarious purposes, to once again become a god. This time, however, he doesn't fall to extreme emotion, and for an entire episode, his percentage moves up, bit by bit. Mob's emotional maturity and growth is on display here, and when he finally does pop and hit 100%, he doesn't direct it towards anyone. Dimple continues to talk to Mob, but he doesn't respond, letting himself think and cool off to prevent another power overflow. This is a prime example of another 2 lessons of Mob Psycho. Not all situations are black and white, and in that same regard, you should always be striving to improve yourself. What made Mob dangerous wasn't his power, but his emotional weakness, and throughout we see him work towards building up his mental health and confidence through sheer perseverance and hard work. It could be as simple as something like the Telepathy Club at the very start of the series that lounged around doing nothing and attempted to fight its shutting down placed by a club that is all about self-improvement. This self-improvement, improved emotional maturity, and previous experiences demonstrates the Mob to view things more nuanced. If we take a character like Reagan, who is objectively a con man, we see he also isn't explicitly painted as evil either. He does bad things, he scams people, but even he at times has a moral compass that urges him to protect Mob from serious danger. Reagan is an example of how characters we like can do bad things, and Scar themselves are examples of characters we root against that are capable of doing good. During the episodes when the kids were trying to escape from the underground lab and get caught, one of the members that has seniority lets them go because it's the right thing to do, objecting to keeping kids hostage for the sake of the organization. The first time we see Mob express this recognition of nuance in people is during Reagan's arc, where he gets exposed as a fraud. He doesn't just take the media's account when evaluating Reagan's character on that bridge, he thinks back to all of the experiences he had with him, coming to his own conclusion that Reagan really is a good guy. He didn't view him on the pedestal Reagan wanted to be put on, but he truly examined his character and his experiences with him. These 2 lessons are on full display during the God Dimple encounter, as his never-ending desire to better himself culminates in him discarding his power and emotions so he can think of the situation more objectively, not succumbing to extreme emotion and viewing the nuance of Dimple's decisions. He learned to be strict during the Claw arc, but here he understood when to stop holding his ground, and that sometimes you can be a part of the problem. Without his powers, Mob stopped being Mob with Dimple, and instead became Shigeo. He realized he was projecting his desire to be popular onto Dimple, something all of the characters of MP100 had done to him that caused him such anguish, when in reality, Dimple just wanted to be validated by Shigeo. A strong feeling of desire for validation is something I'm sure we can all relate to. I mean, I'm here making a YouTube video on my thoughts on a series for essentially the same reason. People do stupid things over the internet for a minute of fame, and it's something Shigeo himself had wanted for so long, to be validated and recognized by Tsubomi, to be recognized as more than just his power and to work for status. MP100 is anti-wish fulfillment because Mob already has the power that a main character would have at the end of a story, but still has to work hard every day to become the kind of person he wants to be, to build his own identity while people push their own image on him, to not ignore what he himself wants to try and please others. While MP100's lessons are good for all ages, it's one of few shonen that feels like it uses its MC to talk directly to its young target audience, to tell them that talent isn't everything, and that you should still work hard to be the person you want to be, that being strong won't help you achieve things and you still need to earn others' respect, to not let people's expectations burden you to become who you desire to be, to not fall back on unhealthy emotional patterns and let everything bottle up until it explodes. It teaches you that if you truly believe what you're doing is right, or what someone is doing to you is wrong, it's okay to stand up for yourself, despite how you might feel about yourself. It teaches us to understand people, and how they got to the point they're at, and that their environment defines who they are while still being strict with them. Sometimes you have to look inwards and own up to your mistakes and misunderstandings. It teaches you that you still have so much time. Whether you're a preteen, a teenager, a young adult, or even a fully grown adult with your own responsibilities, it's never too late to make a change. It's never too late to be the person you've always wanted to be, or to strive towards your goals. It's easy to get sucked into the negative feedback loop of feeling like you're running out of time when you're younger. Trust me, I'm speaking from experience. When I was 20, I felt like I had squandered my best years and I had nothing to show for it. And at the time of writing, I'm 24, almost 25, yet I feel like I'm doing better than ever. I came to realize that a lot of people around me don't even have their shit together until their 30s. It's never too late to make changes, and you're still so young. It might feel scary, but it's okay to not know where you're headed right this second. Be the person you've always aspired to be. Thank you for watching. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see a video similar to this one, and also to help us with the funny YouTube algorithm. You can also check the description down below and follow me on Twitter where I'm objectively correct at all times. You can also join my Discord down below where we talk about My Hero Academia, Re:Zero, Jujutsu Kaisen, Mob Psycho, and stuff like that. And finally, you can also become a member, which gives you some pretty cool channel perks like a little badge next to your name, some emotes when I live stream, and stuff like that. Thanks for watching. See ya.